The movies have lied to you. You are not going to be the hero who figures out the alien's weakness in the third act. You are not going to fly a captured spaceship into the mothership. Statistically speaking, if an advanced, hostile civilization enters low Earth orbit today, you are strictly collateral damage. You are a biological obstacle to be removed, or a resource to be harvested. That is the cold math. But math has variables, and while you cannot fight an interstellar military with a hunting rifle, you can control where you are, who you are with, and how hard you make it for them to kill you. This is not a fantasy. This is a curriculum for the first 30 days of the end of the world. We are going to walk through the timeline, hour by hour, day by day. We will strip away the Hollywood heroism and look at the brutal logistics of surviving an occupation by a force that sees you as nothing more than a localised infestation. Welcome to Survival Curriculum. Let's get to work. Before we watch the sky fall, a quick piece of housekeeping. If you want to survive the algorithm, as well as the invasion, you need to secure your spot here. Hit that subscribe button. It is the only way to ensure these briefings keep reaching you. We are building an archive of survival logic here, and today we are tackling the supreme crisis scenario. An alien invasion combines every disaster we know, war, grid collapse, pandemic, and famine, into one package. To survive it, we have to break the 30 days down into 4 distinct phases: the shock, the cull, the occupation, and the new normal. We are going to run a simulation. I want you to visualize your current location. Look around the room. That window? That is a liability. That tap? That is a ticking clock. Let's start the clock at day 0. It starts with a sound you have never heard before. Not an explosion, but a thrumming vibration that you feel in your teeth before you hear it with your ears. It is 2 p.m. on a Tuesday. You are at work, or maybe in traffic. The sky doesn't turn black. It turns a sick, bruised violet as ionization layers in the atmosphere are stripped away by orbital bombardment. Then the power goes. All of it. Not just the lights flickering, but the hum of the refrigerator, the glow of your phone, the engine of the car next to you stalling out as its ECU gets fried by a high-altitude electromagnetic pulse. Then comes the silence. For 10 seconds, the entire city is holding its breath. Then the screaming starts. A sonic boom shatters every window on the north side of the street. Glass rains down like hail. People are stumbling out of buildings, bleeding, looking up. And that is when you see them. Not ships, but geometric shapes cutting through the clouds, defying gravity, ignoring physics. They aren't landing, they are hovering over the power plants and the data centers. The invasion hasn't started with a handshake. It has started with a blinding of the prey. Here is how 90% of the population dies, or gets injured, in the first hour. They act like an audience. They treat the event as a spectacle. When the flash happens, they run to the window to film it. When the sonic boom hits seconds later, that window becomes a claymore mine, shredding their face and eyes. If they survive that, they try to drive. They panic. They get in their cars, which might not work depending on the severity of the EMP, and they clog the arteries of the city. They create a gridlock that traps them in the open, perfectly exposed to secondary strikes or debris falling from orbit. They try to call their families, overloading the few cell towers that might still have backup power, ensuring that no emergency services can coordinate. They follow the herd. The herd runs away from the noise, usually into choke points like bridges or tunnels. You must not be part of the herd. The herd is panicked meat. In a scenario with orbital superiority, movement is death. Being outside is death. Trying to find out what is happening by looking at the sky is death. Your job in the first 60 minutes is to disappear. Do not look out the window. Do not try to drive home if you are more than 5 miles away. You find the nearest structurally sound concrete building and you go to the core, the basement, the stairwell, the interior hallway. You need mass between you and the sky. If you are home, you have a 10-minute window called the water sprint. While the municipal pressure is still fading, you plug the bathtub, you fill the sinks, you fill every pot, Tupperware and bottle you own. That water is the last clean water you will see for a month. Once the pumps die, the backflow brings sewage and contaminants into the pipes. Shut off your main water valve to prevent that contamination from entering your home's system. Then, you black out. Tape garbage bags over the windows, heavy blankets. If they are scanning for light or thermal signatures, you want your home to look like a dead rock. You turn off your phone. Even if it works, it is a beacon, a tracking device. You go dark. You sit in the centre of your room, away from the glass, and you wait. You do not leave to pick up the kids from school. I know that sounds monstrous, but the school is a soft target, and the roads are death traps. You secure yourself, then you plan. Here is the variable you didn't account for. The aliens aren't just bombing us with explosives, they are bombing us with noise. Psychoacoustic warfare. We have seen versions of this with LRAD systems on Earth, but scale it up. They might broadcast a frequency that induces nausea, vertigo, or extreme irrational panic to flush people out of hiding. If you suddenly feel an overwhelming urge to run outside, or a crushing depression that makes you want to give up, you have to recognise that as a weapon, not an emotion. You need ear protection. Earplugs, construction earmuffs, anything to dampen the auditory input. If you don't have those, wet paper towels packed tight. It sounds crude, but it might keep you from running into the street screaming. The invasion isn't just physical, it is biological. They are hacking your nervous system to make you make mistakes. Stay low, stay dark, stay deaf. 72 hours in. The sky is still wrong, filled with ash and the contrails of patrol craft. The city hasn't burned down, but it is breaking. The grocery stores were emptied in the first 6 hours, mostly by looting. Now, those stores are dangerous places. There are bodies in the aisles. The smell of rotting meat from the thawed freezers is drifting into the street. You can hear gunfire, sporadic and desperate. It's not the military fighting the aliens, it's neighbours fighting over a generator that ran out of gas yesterday. At night, it is pitch black, except for the sweeping beams of the searchlights from above. When those lights hit a house, there is a buzzing sound, and then nothing. The house just goes silent. You are huddled in your hallway. You have eaten cold beans for 3 meals. You are thirsty because you are rationing. Every time a floorboard creaks, your heart hammers against your ribs like a trapped bird. The biggest mistake people make in this phase is the bug-out fantasy. They grab their tactical backpacks and try to walk to the woods. In a zombie movie, that works. In an alien invasion, a group of humans moving across an open road is a heat signature on a black background. The aliens have air superiority. They have drones that can read a license plate from orbit. If they see a convoy of cars or a column of refugees, they will assume it is a military regrouping or a resistance cell. They will neutralise it, efficiently. The roads are choked with dead cars and desperate people. If you leave your shelter now, you are entering a combat zone with no cover. You are trading a secure, known environment for a chaotic, unknown one. People also fail by trying to be the grey man in a crowd. But crowds draw fire. Crowds draw attention. If you join a mob looting a pharmacy, You are just painting a target on your back for the drone looking for civil unrest patterns. Your strategy for days 1 through 3 is Fortress of Solitude. You do not open the door for anyone unless you have a pre-agreed code. Sanitation becomes your number one enemy. The toilets don't flush. If you keep using them, you create a biological hazard inside your bunker. You need a bucket, heavy-duty trash bags, and kitty litter or dirt. This is the unglamorous reality of survival. You create a waste system immediately. Separate liquids and solids if you can. It reduces the smell. Next, inventory. You count every single calorie. You do not eat out of boredom or stress. You eat perishable food first, the stuff in the fridge that is going bad. You save the cans for later. You organise a watch rotation. Even if you are alone, you sleep in shifts if possible, or set a silent alarm to check the perimeter every few hours. You are listening for two things: human looters trying to breach your door, and the mechanical whir of alien surveillance. If you hear the latter, you freeze. Literally. Don't breathe deep. Here is the tech twist. The aliens likely have sensors we don't understand. We assume they see like us. But what if they see Wi-Fi signals? What if their drones map the inside of buildings by measuring the variance in radio waves, like a bat using sonar but with electromagnetic radiation? If your router is still trying to ping a tower, if your phone is searching for a signal, you might be glowing on their HUD. Unplug everything. Physically sever the power cords. If you have a microwave, put your critical electronics inside it and close the door. It's a makeshift Faraday cage. And consider your biological output. If they see in the infrared spectrum, your body is a light bulb. You can't change your body heat, but you can mask it. Space blankets, mylar, reflect heat. Taping mylar sheets over your windows doesn't just block light, it blocks your heat signature from the drone scanning the street. You need to become a ghost in the machine. Day 4. This is when the silence changes. The screaming has mostly stopped because the people who were screaming are dead or hiding. Now you hear the heavy machinery. The aliens are landing ground troops. You peek through a gap in the blackout curtains, an inch, no more, and you see them. They aren't little green men. They are mechanised suits, walking tanks, or perhaps bioengineered horrors that look like insects the size of SUVs. They are moving methodically down the main avenue. They aren't shooting everything. They are selectively destroying infrastructure. They rip the generator out of the hospital. They melt the support pillars of the bridge. They are dismantling our ability to fight back. And then you see the collaborators. Humans, walking alongside the machines, pointing out houses. Maybe they are mind-controlled. Maybe they are just cowards trying to buy another day of life. But seeing a human betray their species to a 10-foot machine is a shock that freezes your blood. Psychologically, this is the breaking point. This is when people try to negotiate. They walk out with their hands up. They make signs saying, "We are peaceful." In a conventional war, that might work. Against a xenocidal force, it is suicide. You are projecting human morality onto a species that travelled light years to steal your water. They do not care about your white flag. The other failure here is the Rambo complex. A survivor sees a patrol and decides to take a pot shot with a hunting rifle. One shot. Maybe it pings off the alien armour. The response is disproportionate. The alien unit doesn't just shoot back, they level the entire apartment block with plasma fire or gravity weapons. That one hero just killed 50 families hiding in the building. Do not engage. You do not have the firepower to hurt them. You only have the capacity to annoy them into wiping your grid square off the map. Logistically, you are now entering the dehydration zone. If you didn't fill the tub, you are out of water. If you did, it's starting to taste stale. You need to aerate it, pour it back and forth between containers to put oxygen back in. But now you have to look for new sources. This is dangerous. You check the toilet tanks, not the bowls, of empty apartments. You check water heaters. There are 40 gallons of clean water in the tank in the basement, if you know how to drain it. You need a wrench and a hose. Do this quietly. Sound travels further in a dead city. If you are cooking, you stop. The smell of cooking food is a beacon to starving neighbours, and maybe to alien olfactory senses. Switch to cold soaking. Put your dry pasta or beans in water for 6 hours. It will soften enough to eat. It is miserable, textureless mush, but it gives you calories without lighting a fire or creating a smell. Eat to fuel the machine, not to enjoy the meal. The twist for this phase is the bait tactic. The aliens might leave supplies out in the open. A crate of water bottles. A pallet of MREs dropped in the middle of a park. It looks like aid. Maybe they are benevolent? No, it is a honey trap. They are studying us. They want to see how we group up, how we communicate. Or they just want to gather humans in one spot for easier collection. Or, more sinister, the food is tainted. Nanomarkers that enter your bloodstream and turn you into a walking GPS beacon. If you eat the alien food, you might lead them right back to your hidden family. If something looks too good to be true in the middle of an apocalypse, it is a weapon. Do not touch the bait. Watch who does. Watch what happens to them. Gather intel, not gifts. Week 2. The initial chaos has hardened into a grim routine. The city is occupied. The aliens have established processing centres in the stadiums and convention halls. You hear the announcements blaring from drones in a language that sounds like grinding metal, followed by a synthetic human voice. Citizens, report to the safe zones for food and water. Resistance is mathematical error. You see lines of people shuffling toward the stadium. They look defeated. They are trading freedom for a bottle of water. You are thinner now. Your hands shake a little. The smell of the city is overwhelming, sewage and decay. You have established a hide inside your own home, a crawl space or a false wall, because the patrols are doing house-to-house sweeps. You hear boots, or claws, on the stairs. You hold your breath until your lungs burn. This is where the lone wolf dies. The psychological weight of total isolation crushes you. People break. They run out screaming just to see another face. Or they get careless. They light a candle at night because they can't stand the dark anymore. That one flicker of light is seen by a drone 2 miles away. The other failure is trusting the safe zones. History, human and otherwise, teaches us that when an occupying force concentrates a population, it is never for the population's benefit. It is for efficiency. Efficiency of control, efficiency of labour, or efficiency of extermination. If you go to the stadium, you are no longer a survivor. You are inventory. The people who go there are hoping for a return to the status quo. They want someone to tell them it's okay. You have to accept that it is not okay, and it will never be the same again. Independence is the only safety. Tactically, you need to think about layered defence. Your front door is not your only barrier. Block the stairwell with furniture. Make it look like a collapse, not a barricade. If they think the building is unstable, they might skip it. If they breach, you need a hiding spot that isn't under the bed. A false bottom in a closet. Behind the insulation in the attic. You need to sleep with your shoes on. You need an escape route that doesn't use the front door. A fire escape, a roof jump, a hole you smash through the drywall into the next apartment. And you need a go bag that is actually light enough to run with. Water, knife, socks, lighter. That's it. If you have to run, you are sprinting for your life. Also, sanitation moves to cat holes. If you can't dispose of waste, you bury it or seal it. Disease is now a bigger threat than the aliens. One case of cholera in your group and you are all dead. The threat evolves again. Now come the Seekers. Small autonomous drones designed to enter buildings. They are like flying snakes or rolling spheres. They map interiors. They sample the air for carbon dioxide concentrations that indicate breathing. How do you beat a CO2 sensor? You can't stop breathing. But you can confuse the sensor. Ventilation. If you are in a sealed room, CO2 builds up. If you have a draft, it disperses. Or you create false positives. If you can safely burn a small alcohol flame or create a chemical reaction in another room, it might draw the bot. But the scariest tech is the audio replay. The drone records your voice, maybe from a phone call you made on day 0, and plays it back to you from the hallway. It sounds like your mother or your child crying for help outside your door. It is a lure. If you open the door for your crying child, and your child is actually 3 states away, you die. Trust nothing you hear. The 2-week mark passes. You are now in the long dark. The grid isn't coming back. The explosions have stopped because there is nothing left to bomb. The city is a skeleton. The aliens are harvesting now, stripping metals, draining reservoirs, taking people. You see massive harvesters moving through the downtown area, grinding buildings into dust to extract raw materials. The dust covers everything. It coats your throat. You cough constantly, muffling it in a pillow. Your group, if you have one, is fraying. Arguments start over a cracker, over who slept too long. You look at your friend and you don't see a friend. You see a mouth that eats your food. This is the Lord of the Flies phase. The enemy isn't outside anymore. It's the primitive part of your own brain telling you to hoard, to kill, to survive at any cost. The failure here is social collapse. Groups implode. Someone gets greedy, someone gets paranoid, and they pull a gun. Or they exile the weak link, the elderly person or the injured one. This destroys morale. Once you lose your humanity, you lose your reason to survive. You just become an animal. And animals are easy to trap. Another failure is scavenging fatigue. You get tired of being careful. You walk down the middle of the street because you haven't seen a patrol in 2 days. You stop checking corners. You get sloppy. Complacency kills more survivors than plasma rifles. The aliens rely on this. They know our adrenaline burns out. They wait for us to make a mistake born of exhaustion. You cannot afford to be tired. You have to treat day 20 with the same paranoia as day 1. Logistically, you are shifting from hiding to subsisting. You need to catch rainwater. You need to trap rats or pigeons if you are in the city. I know, it's disgusting. Get over it. Cook them thoroughly. You need to scavenge specifically for vitamins now. Scurvy is a real thing. Look for pine needles to make tea, vitamin C, or raid pharmacies for supplements, not just painkillers. You need to establish a dead drop communication system with other survivors. Do not meet face to face. Leave a note in a specific hollow tree or under a specific rock. Sector 4 clear. Water at the park is poisoned. Build a network without building a gathering. Information is the new currency. If you find a radio that works, listen, but do not transmit. Triangulation takes seconds. Be a black hole for information. Suck it in, let nothing out. The twist. Terraforming. You notice the plants look weird. The moss on the brick wall is purple, not green. The air smells like ozone and ammonia. The aliens aren't just here to steal. They are here to stay. They are pumping gases into the atmosphere to make it more comfortable for them and toxic for us. You might start feeling breathless, dizzy, the headache that won't go away. You need air filtration. N95 masks won't cut it against gas, but they help with the spores. If you can find a painter's respirator or a gas mask in a hardware store, grab it. Seal your room with plastic sheeting and duct tape to create a clean air, slight overpressure zone if you can figure out a filtered intake. We are now fighting the environment itself. The planet is being rewritten under our feet. Day 30. You made it. You look in the mirror and you see a stranger. Gaunt, filthy, eyes wide and scanning. You haven't spoken above a whisper in a month. You step outside for a scavenge run at dawn. The city is silent. The alien ships are still there, hovering like new moons, but the active war is over. The occupation is absolute. You see a patrol down the street, but you don't run. You freeze. You blend. You are part of the rubble. You watch them pass. They don't see you because you aren't acting like a human anymore. You are acting like a part of the landscape. You have adapted. You have a stash of water. You have a route. You have a shiv made from a car spring. You are not a citizen of Earth anymore. You are a rat in the walls of the alien empire. The final failure is despair. People get to day 30, realise the cavalry isn't coming, realise the military is gone, and they check out. Suicide rates spike. Or they get reckless because they think, what's the point? The point is spite. The point is that every breath you take is an act of rebellion. The point is that empires crumble, even interstellar ones. If you survive today, you might find a resistance cell tomorrow. If you give up now, you did all this suffering for nothing. Do not let the silence kill you. The other failure is trying to return to normal, trying to sleep in your bed, trying to light a fire. Normal is dead. You have to embrace the new primitive existence. You are a hunter-gatherer in a concrete jungle. Long-term logistics. You need renewable food. You are planting potatoes in buckets in your living room near the window. You are collecting seeds. You are mapping the city, marking the red zones, alien hives, and the green zones, abandoned outskirts. You are looking for a way out of the city, toward the rural areas where the alien density is lower. You need to move. The city is a tomb. Your goal for day 31 is to plan the exodus. You need a bicycle. Quiet, no fuel, easy to repair. You need a cart. You are leaving the bunker. The initial blast phase is over. The survival phase is over. The resistance phase begins. You need to find others who survived the same way you did, by being smart, quiet, and ruthless. You are building a tribe. The final twist. We are the virus. The aliens are biological entities. They have immune systems. We have diseases they've never encountered. The common cold, the flu, the bacteria in our mouths. We might be toxic to them. You notice a patrol trooper stumble. You see a harvester crash for no reason. We don't need to blow them up. We might just need to sneeze on them. This is the War of the Worlds scenario, but slower. Keep your distance, but observe. If they start wearing biosuits, you know we are winning the biological war. Your survival isn't just about hiding. It's about staying alive long enough for Earth to kill the invaders for you. You are the carrier. You are the weapon. Stay alive. 30 days. That is the threshold. If you can navigate the blast, the panic, the thirst, the patrols, and the despair for 1 month, you have statistically survived the extinction event. You have transitioned from a victim to a survivor. The world you knew is gone. The Starbucks is gone. The internet is gone. But you are here. The skills you learned, water purification, noise discipline, thermal masking, tactical scavenging. These are your new life skills. You are the ancestor of the future. The people who come after will come from you. It is a heavy burden, but you carry it because the alternative is extinction. We have covered the first 30 days, but day 31 brings a whole new set of problems. Long-term agriculture, guerrilla warfare, resetting a society from zero. If you want those briefings, if you want the manual for the resistance, you need to subscribe. Leave a comment below with your Day Zero plan. Where do you go when the sky turns violet? I want to see your logistics in the comments. I read them all. Prepare your gear. Check your water. Watch the sky. I'm Tom. This is Survival Curriculum. Class dismissed. You survived the simulation. Now survive the reality. Equip yourself at the official supply depot. Because if the world is going to end, you might as well look prepared.